saying that you met Doughboy in 2013.
Yeah.
And now that you've released your most recent album, all of a sudden you kind of just started getting into creating content, which for me is crazy because I've known you for almost 20 years now. And you've never wanted to do this. You've never wanted to be in front of the camera. You were always anti-music videos, anti, fame, so to speak.
Yeah.
What changed?
Really what changed is just the industry changing. Like, me, I've always kind of changed with the times in regard to like mediums and how people were putting out content and ideas. And I'll kind of give you some examples of that, right? So I was one of the first people to start selling albums on thumb drives.
That's right.
I was one of the first people to have my own app. A lot of people don't, well, my fans remember, but some people don't know that I had my own Triune app in the Android and Apple fucking app
That's
store.
right. You can go there and stream your music from there. I remember that.
I was one of the first people to have, first rappers that I knew to have my own website. I had my own website in 2005. It was triunemusic.net. I remember, you know what I'm saying? I've always been very forward in the things that I've been doing. And if you remember, I did have attempts at doing content. Remember Triune TV?
Yeah.
I started that in 2010.
It's been that long? Fuck.
Yeah. Yeah. I was doing blog content in 2010. In fact, when I started promoting the Celebration album, I had a couple shows in New York and a couple shows in like Texas and different places. I started Triune TV just vlogging from my laptop camera in a hotel room. I have these old episodes. The first Triune TV was published in 2010. So I've been taking stabs at doing content. But the reason why I decided to take a stab at the content is based on certain peers that I have in the world that said that I had something to add to the social commentary space. And I think that comes on the back of people like Joe Budden and Charlemagne the God, like people that have kind of created their lane in not necessarily music, but in giving social commentary to the world. You know this, but we're a part of like a invite-only exclusive men's group called Real Talk that we established like 12 years ago online. And we get together, whether that's via Zoom or we get together in person when the world was open to have these conversations. And so if you remember for the Love album, I put out a series of conversations. You were involved in that.
That's right.
Remember when we shot him in my old house? And from that, I couldn't really stop hearing people telling me, you need to do more of that. You need to do more of that. So I kind of broke out of my old shell and decided, you know what? If I can have these conversations in private, I can have them in public as long as I can remain like the authenticity of myself. If I can keep being 100% me, then I'll do it. So when Doughboy and I had kind of reconnected, I don't even want to say reconnected because we had talked last year when he had kind of went to rehab and then got out. That was in 2019. And then, we talked periodically. And he had hit me in like May of this year and was like, yo, he had went through what he went through with his old podcast partner, Kev on Stage. And he had a show that was pretty successful called Righteous and Ratchet. And they had dissolved that show. And he was looking to like kind of have a content comeback. And him and I had been talking forever to do content together. Like the original idea, which I think we're going to finally bring to fruition in 2021, was doing a battle rap blog. That's a place where him and I definitely have similar interests. And we can talk about battle rap to the end of times. So we're going to do that. And then we decided, you know what? Maybe we should do like a current events, current social issues kind of podcast. So I was like, all right, cool. Like, let's do it. So a couple months went by and then we started to really get serious in these talks about what we were doing. And so that was kind of the foray that turned into the New Normal podcast.
Got it. And then so where did Yancey come into all this? Because I had met her through you.
Yeah.
A few times here at the crib. So I know that you guys were talking about it. That was just
kind
of an organic
I was already
situation,
doing a podcast with her called Ear Candy the Show.
Oh yeah,
This
yeah,
was an
yeah, yeah,
audio
yeah.
only podcast that we
That's
were
right.
just distributing to the podcast apps. You know, it was on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, all that shit. But we never did video. And so Doughboy and I had like committed, like, all right, we're gonna do this. We want to launch it this date, blah, 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 blah. And he had mentioned, hey, it would be really cool to have like a female moderator, almost like the way like First Take and Undisputed does.
Got it.
It'd be dope to have a female moderator. So I was like, all right, well, I'm kind of talking, well, now I'm kind of working with someone now that I feel like could be a potential fit. Why don't you listen to some of our episodes of Ear Candy and get back to me? Let me know if you like her. So we did that, and he got back to me, and he was like, yo, I like her. When can I meet her? And then I had invited her. I texted her that day, and she was basically, I was like, yo, what are you doing after work? And she was like, nothing. What's up? I was like, yo, can you come by my crib? I got someone I want you to meet. So she came through, and that's when they met. And then that's kind of how that ball got to rolling.
Got it.
Yeah.
So now that show's over, I mean, I'm sure everybody knows this. I mean, you guys put out what, like 15 episodes or something around there?
A little less than that.
A little less than that.
You can ask what you want, man. You don't got to dance around the shit.
Well, all right. I'm sure everybody is curious. I mean, kind of myself and Ethan as well. Because I mean, when the show first started, I even told Ethan about it. Ethan the Lost, and you know him. He was all about it. Like he started watching this shit, and he was like, "Yo, I'm fucking with this. Like this is dope."
Yeah.
And he actually has some questions of his own. He was hoping that we'd kind of get a new Aunt Viv and just kind of keep it moving. But
Nah.
yeah, I mean, you guys put out a handful of episodes, and it seemed to really be moving. What kind of stopped that?
That's deep. I guess it's because this is what this is and it's on my platform. I guess I'll kind of open up a little bit in regard to it and give people some more details. I'm taking a deep breath because I hope that this doesn't start some shit in regard to like bringing it up again, because that's not really my intent. My intent is just to be honest about it. So, long story short, man, there was just a lot of drama. We started actually releasing the new normal in September of 2020. We came up with the concept, got everything together pretty much in August. It lasted until the very beginning of November. And that was basically a 2 to 3 month process where it was nonstop drama. And you know me, man. I thrive in environments where there's peace. That's when I'm at my best. I'm at my best when I have a clear head and I have peace and serenity around me. And that just wasn't the situation with the new normal, I'm pretty sure everybody pretty much knows at this point that I was the one that dissolved the show, and I'll take full attribution for that. And I'm pretty sure everyone knows that I had my differences with Yancey. I guess what's most troubling about the situation is that I never did anything to Yancey. I did nothing but help her. Even the ear candy shit. Everybody kind of knows, like, at this current time. I'm not saying, like, I want to put this out there, too. Although I don't consider Yancey my friend or anything like that, or even an acquaintance, like, I really don't want to be around her or be, like, I don't want to have, like, a discussion with her. Like, that's in the past for me. I do wish her the best. Like, I hope that all of her dreams and wishes and visions come true. Like, I've never been a hater. Like, I never. But some of the things that were said and some of the things that, she put out there, I just didn't feel like it was genuine at all. And it made me question whether or not my entire friendship with her was genuine.
Got it.
And so, just certain things that have just been said are just not true. They're just full fabricated lies. And I can't do business with a person who I don't trust. And ultimately, I got to that point with her. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I mean, from the jump, I'm assuming you want me to walk through this.
I mean, sure.
So from the jump, the day that I introduced her and Doughboy, there was just really inappropriate flirting going on. And it was from her to him primarily. I know a lot of people would want to assume that it was the man, but it wasn't. And I'm saying this being completely objective. I'm not saying this to hurt anybody or hurt anyone's reputation. I'm just telling the truth. And that situation rubbed me the wrong way because I didn't bring her into the New Normal podcast to bring that sort of energy. I wanted to create a business. I wanted to create another source of revenue. And I thought that we were all professionals here. The second thing was like, upon money, money at the beginning, I was used to working with Yancey under a certain pretense because her communication was stellar when we first met. When we first met, it was under the pretense of me helping her. A mutual friend. In fact, it was Excel.
Oh, it was through X.
Yeah, my old artist and one of my really good friends. Like, he introduced us. And it was under the pretense that she needed a place to record her podcast. I did it for free at my old house. After that, her and I discussed doing potentially a podcast together. We shot a pilot or recorded a pilot because we never did anything on video. We recorded a pilot and it went well. So we decided, cool, we'll create this thing. Yancey came to me and said, hey, look, and I appreciated this. I want to be clear. Like, I'm not shitting on her. I'm just being real. I appreciated that she came to me and said, hey, look, I'm going through this, that, and the third in her life, which I'm not going to tell the people, and that I'm really strapped for cash right now. She said, I can't invest into this show, but what I can tell you is that I will be, I will help with any administrative stuff that we need. I will run the social media and I will show up and record because I've always wanted to create a podcast. I was like, all right, cool, that works for me. So, I paid for the photo shoot and the logo and all that other shit, and I already had the equipment. So we recorded the shit. And that went well because it was very much a labor of love. It wasn't something that we had pressure to do. And that was another reason why I never fully invested in the ear candy, because we treated it like a labor of love. Yancey was going through some things in her personal life that I won't go through or, I won't touch on. But, things that I have empathy towards, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I gave her grace every time that, she couldn't record for a few months because she was going through this, or couldn't record for a couple months because she was going through this. And, as a labor of love, our friendship was great. But when I introduced her to Doughboy, all of those things went out the window. So, Doughboy and I are talking about doing, spending money on this, that, and the third, and she's being radio silent in our group text. So I had to have a conversation with her about that. And she was cool, you know what I'm saying? Like, we talked for maybe an hour. It was cool. We ended up being like, all right, cool. Like, well, we have 2 different offers to offer her. And this is before we recorded even a pilot. We came to her, we was like, look, we have 2 offers for you. You can either be 33 1/3% partner in the podcast, or you can be a 20% employee. 33 1/3% means you come in as you go out. So you're going to invest 33 1/3% of whatever it is that we need. And when we become profitable, you get that out. Or you can be a 20% employee. You have no financial investment at all. And when we become profitable, you get 20% of the profits. And at any given point, if we decide that you're not a fit for the show, or you decide that you're not a fit for the show, we're at will.
Oh, got it. So it's basically almost on some work for hire type shit.
Yeah. And this was because of me knowing more about her situation. You know what I'm saying? That I won't go into. And she decided to be a 33 1/3% partner. So we squared up on all this shit that we were doing. But even before that conversation, like, there was just other things that were going on that I just didn't feel like I could trust. Like, she sent me a screenshot of her new website she was launching, but it was using photos from a photo shoot that we all had that she didn't pay for.
Oh.
And it was kind of like, that's and I had to have a discussion with her about that. And then after that, it was the WAP video shoot. Like Doughboy did a WAP parody of, the Meg Thee Stallion, Cardi B.
Oh,
He
yeah,
did like
yeah.
a WAP parody, like on some food fat boy shit.
Got it.
And, he had wrote her into it because he said, look, we're going to be doing this piece of content. It might as well be, you know what I'm saying? Like, you might as well be in it because we're going to be doing other shit together. And so he had a photo shoot in downtown LA, or a video shoot downtown LA. We went. And he ended up adding me into it, which you guys can see. It's online. And long story short, like, and I even hesitate saying this because I don't even want to bring her into it. So I'll preface it with saying that Yancia has two amazing children. Two children that I admire a lot. I have nothing negative to say about her children at all. But what I will say is that I don't think it's appropriate to bring your children to the things that you have to do as an adult, to work functions, like work things. I mean, it was one thing, she brought her daughter over to my house all the time when we would record, and that'd be fine because I have space here for her to kind of go and roam. And a lot of times my daughters were here. So, they can kind of play together while we're down here recording and doing what we're doing. But, during the photo shoot time, there's no other kids there. Everybody's, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So she brought her daughter to the WAP parody shoot. And I don't know how she thought that it wouldn't be sexually explicit at all. Like the original record is WAP. It's wet ass, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know how she thought that, but she brought her daughter. There was some sexually explicit things in there. I don't think it was crazy. Definitely inappropriate for a child, but I don't know if it was crazy like as an adult. It wasn't like the original video, but there were a few little elements or whatever, and so she felt super uncomfortable with the content that was there, and she asked Doughboy to pull her footage from the video. And although he was a little frustrated about that, he let it go, but the caveat to all that is she still expected for him to pay for the items that she bought for the video shoot after asking to pull her content from it. And at that point, there was conversations that were had, and he ended up, just in the essence of trying to make shit cool, he ended up reimbursing half of it.
Oh, got it.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then the flirting thing kind of came to a head where she came to me on some like, I'm uncomfortable with Doughboy's advancements. And I'm thinking in my head, I didn't tell her this, but I'm thinking in my head, then why are you always pushing the envelope flirting with this man? Like you can't dangle steak in front of a lion and then expect for a lion not to jump at you. And then on top of that, or try and act on it. And then on top of that, this entire time, Yancey was very aware that Doughboy was engaged. So why you were even throwing these flirtatious things out there was very inappropriate. And I know that the episodes are not live, but if you can remember those initial episodes where they were overtly flirting, look at my face. I am very uncomfortable. I'm always like, oh my God, like rolling my eyes like, what the fuck is going on? Because I'm engaged, Doughboy's engaged. What are we flirting? Like, that's not even professional. Like, what are we doing? So that was another thing. And then, I had the sidebar with Doughboy at that point, and tell him to chill on the flirting. And what killed me about it was even after me going to Doughboy on her behalf and saying chill on the flirting, she continued to flirt even after. So that was ultra frustrating. Like, wait, you're uncomfortable with it, but only to the degree in which you're comfortable. You don't care about anyone else's feelings because you're continuing to throw sexual innuendos at people that you've said have made you uncomfortable when they act on the sexual innuendos that you're throwing into the world. Even when we had the episode with Teddy Ray, Shout out to Teddy Ray.
Oh yeah, he was a cool ass dude. I remember him from the old All Def Digital
Yeah,
video we
yeah.
did years ago with Jim Bates and shit.
Yeah. Fucking Teddy's my guy. Like, I fuck with that guy. She was flirting with that nigga when he came to this. So it was kind of like, yo, like, you gotta chill. So then after that, there was like this $500 thing that was being thrown out into the world that she was throwing out. She would say, I need $500 a month just to not have to go back to work. First time she said it, I ignored it. Second time she said it, antennas went up, but I ignored it. Third time she said it, Doughboy hits my jack like, yo, why does she keep throwing that out there? Like, what does that have to kind of do with us? So I was kind of like, well, on the next time she says it, like, let's bring it up. The next time she said it, I think I was out of town. That was the weekend that I went to like New York and Seattle and shit to go shoot videos and go do K-Slay and all that. So
So that was when you and EQ were running around.
Yeah, I was preoccupied, and she brought it up again, and Doughboy hit my jack like, nigga, we need to talk to her. So, damn, I can't even believe I'm going through all this. So, I tell him next time. Hopefully there isn't a next time, a next time. So the next time she brings it up in a group text, but it's in the context of the Patreon, and she's like, hey, if we get the X amount of patrons, then that'll mean X amount of money, and that means I can get the $500 that I need a month, so I don't have to keep going back to work. So I'm like, all right, well, let's call her. So we call her on FaceTime, and even that was very, really weird. Like, her energy was hella weird and shit, but we finally got her on the FaceTime. And I at first approached it on some brother shit where I was like, yo, are you good? Because if you continue to keep mentioning this, you're obviously bringing it up because it's a necessity. You're not bringing it up because it's just, you know what I'm saying, like some whatever shit. So she's like, no, I was bringing it up in the context of the Patreon. And I'm like, well, yeah, but you brought it up like 4 times before this. And on the 3rd time, we kind of noticed. And I just want to say, like, yo, as your bro, if you needed $500 like that, you could have sidebarred with me. I would have given you $500. Like, I ain't tripping. You know what I'm saying? I would have let you borrow that, have it, whatever. Like, you could have came to me. What I'm not understanding is why this is important in the context of TNN. Everything in the group, everything in the podcast business world was transparent. We had a spreadsheet that everyone had to log into. You can log into the Patreon. You can log into the YouTube. Our YouTube never reached monetization, but you can log into the Patreon. You could see that there's $294 in there. You can log into everything and see exactly how much we spent versus how much we've earned. We don't have the money to pay you $500.
Oh, got it. So you actually had a financial breakdown in this.
100%. I still have it. So I'm thinking, I don't understand how you I don't know. I don't get what you're trying to say. So whatever, we leave that in the rear view. And then comes the Atlanta situation. And this is where I really, really lost respect and trust for her. So she had said, she sidebarred with my girl. And I want to note to the people out here, Yancy and my fiance are not friends. They've never been friends. They've never kicked it like that. They've never even had a long, extensive conversation. Long story short, Yancy sidebars with my girl and says, hey, whatever about Atlanta. I'm not going to get into the details of that, but long story short, she's going to Atlanta and she's going out there for a purpose like what she told me and Doughboy the purpose was for.
Oh, so she actually told her the truth.
She told her the truth and told us the bullshit. So I didn't even find out about this shit. My girl kept it quiet. So Yancy pulls up the Monday before she's about to go to Atlanta on that Tuesday. And like, if you know who she is as a person, Yancy's extremely expressive about the things that she's excited about. She comes, we shoot the whole show. Everything's cool. As she's grabbing her things and she's leaving, she's like, hey, by the way, I can't do the bonus episode on Thursday in person. Can we do it virtually? Because I'm leaving to Atlanta tomorrow. This is a week after we had committed to doing 2 a weeks so that we could give the patrons more money or more content for their money, because our Patreon wasn't growing in the way that we expected it to because we weren't giving them enough content.
Got it.
So I look at her and I'm like, I mean, shit, you're saying you're going tomorrow, so there's nothing that we can really do. So I guess we got to do it virtually. Now, we had discussed doing virtual shows if it was a necessity, but because we didn't want to deliver virtual content to our subscribers, like the people that watch the show. We wanted to deliver a high quality show, and you can't do that via Zoom.
No.
So I'm like, all right, whatever. So that night, I tell my girl in a little bit of frustration, like, yo, like, I can't believe, like, she's just taking off. Like, why didn't she tell us ahead of time? You know what I'm saying? Like, we just committed to doing this last week. So then my girl's like, wait, she didn't tell you about this? And I was like, nah. And she runs the whole shit down to me. So Thursday comes when we're supposed to shoot the bonus episode. She changes the schedule 3 times and then says she can't do it. Friday comes, she changes the schedule twice and then I cut it. And I'm like, look, let's just get back to regular scheduled program next week. Turns out that Saturday, she has a sidebar with Doughboy on some drunk call shit, and she tells him the truth. The whole time I'm being told I'm going to Atlanta for a meet and greet. That wasn't the case. So this is also happening among the time that we're having a $500 conversation. So we get back that Monday, and her energy is just like super foul. Like just, so we record the first 2 minutes of the episode, and I cut it. I have it. I cut it, and I'm like, look, the energy is going to come through on the camera that something's not right. So do we need to have a conversation with it, or can we just be professional and just like live up to the moment? You know what I'm saying? She's like, nah, I'm fine. And I'm like, no, you're not. Cause I kind of know you. So we cut and we have a conversation. And long story short, she continued to stand on her lie that she told me even in front of Doughboy. And even Doughboy was like, you didn't tell me that on Saturday. So at that point, I fully accepted in my mind, body, and soul that I couldn't trust her. And I said, I'm done with TNN. I got up, I grabbed my mug, and I went inside and I dumped my mug that I had just put some warm tea into. At that point, she grabs her stuff. She starts talking shit. I check her on that. She grabs her daughter. She leaves. She says some inappropriate shit to her daughter that I won't even repeat. And she leaves. As she's leaving, or as she leaves, Doughboy and I are here breaking down the set and discussing how we're going to reimburse her for the monies that she invested in the TNN. Because either that or we're going to have to give her back the shit that she contributed. So one of the mics, one of the FEC heads, the table, we just give her the shit back, or we'll pay her and just keep the shit.
Got it.
So we're discussing what we're going to do. I asked Doughboy if he has his half to reimburse her. I had my half ready to go. He's like, yeah, I got it. Just tell me what you need. I had him send me his portion of the money that night. I have receipts of all this. As we're doing this and having this conversation, that night, we start getting notifications on our phone that all the passwords have been changed. Password been changed for the Gmail, for Patreon, for YouTube, for everything. I'm like, we can have a difference of opinion. When did I become a crook? When did I become a thief? And I know to you in the Patreon, because I'm not sure if she knows this, or maybe she does now because she has her own. But at the time, I set up our Patreon as a business Patreon. So it had my bank account and my EIN number from my marketing agency. All that shit's in there. I'm like, what are you doing? I would never, I'm not the one that is saying I need $500 for nothing. $500 is inconsequential to me. I'll give you back your money. Like I'm not a thief at all, and I'm not starving for her investment. Her investment was a little over $900. Like I'm not starving for it. I'll Zelle pay you $900 today if you need it. Whatever. So I found a way to get the accounts back, and I did. Immediately she starts texting, "You're gonna hear from my lawyer."
Yeah, of course.
And I'm thinking, all right, whatever. Because I originally text her, I was like, "Yo, you're gonna hear from my attorney in the morning." And I contacted my attorney that night. My old entertainment attorney, she knows who she is. I contacted her that night and I told her, "I'm gonna need for you to send a phone call and a letter to this person tomorrow. And if they don't get back to you within 72 hours, we're gonna file an ex parte hearing and we're gonna get her in fucking small claims court. Because I want back possession of all the shit so I can make sure it's administered the right way." And I'm sure all the patrons and shit, they know I refunded every single patron, not just from the month that we dissolved, but from everything, from September to November.
Oh,
every patron.
in totality.
Yeah, in totality, I refunded every fucking dollar. And I refunded Yancy all of her money within 36 hours of the show being done. I took down all the social medias. I stopped, like, all of that. I did it in the cleanest, fairest way I could. And I was going to do this despite whatever her reactions or responses were. So then she starts trying to capitalize off the situation. And that's when I lost all respect for her.
Yeah, and I saw that shit.
Yeah, and it was like, all right,
subscribe and I'll tell you what happened.
Yeah, and then the date that she originally set to spill the tea, which is like, what are we talking about here? Spilling what tea? We had a channel that had 700 subs and the videos that got 1,500 to 3,000 views, and you're spilling the tea on what? She tries to springboard this into a career. And that made me lose all respect for her and the lies that she told. Like, I found out about TNN via email. No, you found out in person. What are you talking about? Or her and my girl cried after I ended it in the house. Not true. My girl never cried. My girl don't.
Sorry.
Exactly. You know my lady. You know what time it is. And on top of that, I'll even put it out there. My girl don't even rock with Yancy like that. Never has. So, or I yelled at her. No, I didn't. I spoke to her the same way I'm speaking right now. Just lie after. Oh, I'm jealous of her. Me? I mean, look, ladies and gentlemen, you can just look at the world as it is. What do I have to be jealous of her for? I don't want to look like her. I'm a man. I don't want a body like hers. I'm a man. I don't want where she lives. I don't want the car she drives. I don't want her children, even though they're amazing children. I don't want I don't want anything that she is in ownership of. What am I jealous of? And this entire time, I tried to keep it G. I never, like, up into this interview, I addressed it in the most professional way possible. And I feel like I still am. I'm just telling the truth. But when I addressed it on my LabTalk episode, I said the morals and the standards and the principles of all the people involved in TNN weren't in alignment enough for me to do business. And still, she continues and continues and continues and continues. And at a certain point, I just have to address it and defend my name and my honor because I don't have a bad reputation in these streets. And because I'm not a thief. And because I have nothing to gain by putting her down. Absolutely nothing to gain. And so this, and to think this all happened within 2.5 to 3 months. So what would have happened if we did this for a year? What would have happened if we had 50,000 in that Patreon account? What if people were living off of that money? and you just decide out of nowhere to just take over it because of what? And then the last thing I'll say is she sends my girl this long text message like a week or two ago. This is FYI, you're not going to see this interview for quite some time of this segment. We're recording this in December 2020, real close to New Year. So she sends my lady a text in December 2020 that you read.
Yeah.
And it's full of lies. And me and my lady had a great chuckle and laugh at it. You and I had a great chuckle and laugh at it.
Yeah.
I wish her nothing but the best. And always will. But I absolutely want nothing to do with her. And I want no association with her at all for the rest of my life. And I mean that. I wish her the best. And I hope that every dream that she has is obtained. But none of those dreams will be obtained with me involved in the picture. And that's how I would like it to be. I have nothing to say to her. I will have nothing to say to her. And if I see her in a venue, I will just cordially keep to myself. And that's it.
Yeah.
In regard to Doughboy, yeah, I've had my ups and downs with Doughboy. But everyone saw episode 2 when he was drunk, and me and him had conversations about that. But one thing about Doughboy that I respect and always will respect as long as he keeps it that way is Doughboy keeps it 100 with me. Good, bad, ugly, indifferent, whatever it is. And I can respect that. And that's why him and I are going to continue to work together.
Got a clique full of shooters. They won't let